Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And it's good to see you all here today. Well, in past weeks, we've been talking about some encounters recorded in a text entitled "The Recorded Sayings of Layman Pang." Layman Pang, a 8th century Buddhist practitioner, and as the title suggests, a layman. And we talked about some encounters that Layman Pang had with Shito and with Matsu, uh, two of the well-known Buddhist patriarchs, as they're called. And then there are a number of encounters that Layman Pang had with various people, both monastics and lay people. And some of them, frankly, struck me anyway as being kind of weird. And I think, part of it may be that some of the humor of these interactions just doesn't come across well, at least to me, in translation. There's a certain amount of slapping that goes on and that sort of thing. And I don't quite know what to make of it, but there are a couple encounters that I would like to talk about today that I really resonated with, and so I'll share those and see what you think. These are encounters with Layman Pang's family members, both his wife and his daughter, Lin Chao. And as you recall, his Layman Pang had, essentially sacrificed or given or not given away, just discarded all of his wealth at a certain point in life, and took up a very simple life, pursuing Buddhist studies and meditating and just getting by on the bare income that the family could accrue from making bamboo implements. Um, but in this little encounter, he's at home with his wife and his daughter. The layman was sitting in his thatched cottage one day. Difficult, 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 he suddenly exclaimed. Like trying to scatter 10 measures of sesame seed all over a tree. Easy, 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 returned Mrs. Pang. Just like touching your feet to the ground when you get out of bed. Neither difficult nor easy, said Lin Chao. On the 100 grass tips, a patriarch's meaning. So the layman was sitting in his thatched cottage. Difficult, 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 he suddenly exclaimed. His wife says, easy, 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 just like touching your feet to the ground when you get out of bed. His daughter says, neither difficult nor easy. On the 100 grass tips, the patriarch's meaning. Now that is from Ruth Fuller Sazaki's translation. I think it's helpful to look at the only other English translation that I'm aware of, and this is by James Green, a more recent translation. One day, While the layman was meditating in his sitting hut, he suddenly cried out, "It's hard, 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 and I've put 10 coats of linseed oil on this platform too." His wife said, "It's easy, easy, easy. Just turn your eyes to the floor, lower your feet to it, and be on your way." Ling Zhao said, "It's neither hard nor easy. The mind of the patriarchs is in every blade of grass." I think you can see from comparison of those two translations um, uh, some of the challenge in translating Tang Dynasty Chinese into English. I mean, the difference between spreading uh, sesame seeds over a tree or putting linseed oil on a platform. I suspect I don't have access or knowledge of the original uh, Chinese characters, but I suspect there was some character about seed and there was some character about wood, and the translators did the best they could with it. When Layman Pang says hard, 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 that reflects the way in Chinese that adjectives are amplified just by repetition. They're amplified by repetition. They don't say very hard, they say hard, hard, or hard, 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 very, very hard. Um, So we sometimes do something similar, but not often. Usually we use some other way of amplifying adjectives. But the layman says it's hard while sitting. Hard, hard, hard. I think we can probably all relate to that. While sitting in meditation, sometimes it's hard, hard, hard. Difficult, difficult, difficult. But his wife responds, "It's easy. It's just like essentially getting out of bed. You you put your eyes to the floor, lower your feet to it, and be on your way." But his daughter, probably in another room, hears all this and says, "It's neither hard nor easy. The mind of the patriarchs is in every blade of grass." Now, here, uh, clearly, his daughter, who was also a Buddhist practitioner, as well as his wife, is referring to a document, a writing by uh, Seng Chan, who lived about 2 centuries earlier, but composed this long piece, this long poem-like piece called Faith in Mind, Xin Xin Ming. And it's a peculiar piece of writing. It's written in rhyming couplets. Of course, it doesn't rhyme in English, it rhymes in Chinese. And it actually doesn't rhyme very well in modern Chinese, but it rhymed in Tang Dynasty Chinese. The language is fairly simple. It's been translated numerous times in many, many languages. There are, sort of countless English translations available. But there are these 36 of these rhymed couplets. It comprises the poem. And in some ways, it's kind of repetitive. It's about non-duality, about opposites, and about the difficulties that we create that we encounter, that we arouse by using discriminative mind and creating distinctions, creating opposites. So when Lin Chao says it's not easy or difficult, she's referring to a particular passage in the Xin Xin Ming. And that passage, um, translated by Red Pine, goes, the way at heart is all embracing. It isn't hard or easy. Those with doubts or narrow minds take longer the more they try. Grab it and you lose perspective. You're sure to go astray. Let it be the way it is. It doesn't leave or stay. Another translation of the same passage. The way is calm and wide, not easy, not difficult, but small minds get lost. Hurrying, they fall behind. Clinging, they go too far. Sure to make a wrong turn. Just let it be. In the end, nothing goes, nothing stays. So, so it's an encounter that makes us aware of these dualities that we require and that we create, particularly that between easy and hard. Yesterday, I one of the trucks that we use uh, was suspected of having a failing battery, and we thought, well, we'll take the battery out and then take it to the battery store, the AutoZone or whatever, O'Reilly or one of those, and we'll just get a replacement battery and put it back in. So, well, neither one of us who were working on this had ever replaced a truck battery before. We, worked with car batteries, but truck batteries have terminals on the side and instead of on the top, and they're also more complicated to disconnect. Um, Everything is just more difficult to access in a truck battery. So we started on this with the tools we had, and it became difficult, difficult, difficult. And so at some point we realized we would need help. We drove the truck over to a auto supply place, and the person there um, sort of got out the appropriate tools, and for her it was easy, easy, easy to remove the battery. For us, it was difficult. The the difference between easy and difficult, I think, is measured by the distance between our expectations and what we encounter. Um, and for us, our expectations were that it would be fairly easy, um, but it was difficult. And for her, of course, it was easy because she had the appropriate tools and she was doing something that she had done many times before. So I think it's and 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 sometimes, well, that distinction can arise because we're taking things out of context. We see perhaps a concert violinist playing a Bach partita, and we think, oh, that must be very difficult. But we're taking it out of the context of someone who has practiced, 4 hours or more per day for decades in order to hone the skills that are necessary, to have the tools that are necessary to perform that piece of music. Difficult for us, but perhaps relatively easy for that performer. There's another aspect, another closely related encounter occurs between Layman Pang and his daughter. And I think this highlights some of the humor that runs through this, some of which is more easily accessible to me than others. As the layman was sitting one day, he questioned Ling Chao, his daughter, saying, "A man of old said, 'Bright, bright, the 100 grass tips, bright, bright, the patriarch's meaning.' How do you understand this?" "What a thing for you to say in your ripe old age," admonished Ling Chao. "Well, what would you say?" asked the layman. "Bright, bright, the 100 grass tips, bright, bright, the patriarch's meaning," replied Ling Chao. The layman laughed. And James Green translates this same encounter in this way. One day, while they were meditating, the layman turned to Ling Chao and said, "There is a man of old who said each blade of grass is clear cut. The mind of the patriarchs is clear cut. What is your understanding of this?" Ling Chao said, "Our old friend has said it well." The layman said, "What about you?" Ling Chao said, "Each blade of grass is clear cut. The mind of the patriarchs is clear cut." The layman laughed. I think the comparison of these two translations was helpful for me because um, talking about the 100 grass tips, I wasn't sure what uh, that was being referred to, but each blade of grass is clear cut. I think I kind of like the Ruth Fuller Sazaki's Bright Bright, which is a more literal translation. So I might say each blade of grass is bright, bright. The mind of the patriarchs is bright, bright. I think all of these encounters with that are cited in this text about the sayings of Layman Pang speak to aspects of the Dharma. And in this one, I understand the intent to be that the Dharma is everywhere. It's in the patriarchs. It's not just in the from coming from the patriarchs. It's in each blade of grass. It's all around us. We can learn from everything. So this reference to easy and hard, and what we can learn from, suggests themes that run through really all Zen literature. The themes that whatever reality is that we can encounter, that we can appreciate, that we can become aware of, is beyond language. It includes language, but it's beyond language. And that we get caught up sometimes in our linguistic distinctions. What's easy and what's hard, what's inaccessible and what's all around us. Dichotomies produce oppositions inherently, light and dark, black and white, and all the various right and wrong, all of these various dichotomies that are part of virtually every language. But when we get too stuck in them, they inevitably produce conflict. One person's right is another person's wrong. One person's hard is another person's easy. And if these conflicts can't be negotiated, then they turn very ugly and produce suffering for all of us. So a thread that runs through, I think, all Zen teachings is to be suspicious, to be aware of the limitations of language, dichotomies, oppositions, to try to see beyond. And I think we can, sort of use the dichotomy of hard and easy as a practice. What makes things hard? When are they easy? Why are they difficult? I think I'll stop with that, and we'll go into breakout rooms. I really appreciate your listening today, and I'll see you back in a few moments.